Welcome to South Florida saltwater fishing. I'm Heath, and it's time to get into the bite.
Wahoo in the boat, baby! That's a solid kingfish right there. Yeah, nice dolphin. There we go. That's dolphin trolling for you.
Let's do this.
Double header! Woohoo!
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Let's
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Alright folks, in this episode, we're going to go over planer trolling in the Florida Keys. Going to keep it simple, straight and forward, just planer trolling. We're going to go over the gear I use, what leader I use, what planer I use, and what strip bait lure I use. And I use a strip bait of bonita to trail it. We're also going to cover where you need to concentrate down in the Florida Keys because the reef structure is a little different than it is up in the areas of like Broward or Palm Beach. So we're going to go over that topical area where you need to cover to try and get into the bite. Before we get into this though, if you want to learn more about fishing, grow as an angler, or just see some great exciting offshore fishing adventures, you can start by hitting the subscribe button. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you won't miss a thing. So we're not going to waste much more time. We're going to take you out on the boat. So let's get into this.
All right, folks, it's another beautiful day in the Florida Keys. Got some bumpy conditions out there today. Got a solid 10-knot wind from the southeast. So we're going to try and head offshore and see if we can get this done. On the boat with me today, I got my oldest of 4 children. The one, the only, the fish slayer, Avi. All right, so like I said, got a nice little breeze from the southeast. That means it's gonna be a little bumpy out there. We're rigging up and we're getting ready to do this. You know what that means. We'll see you out on the water. All right, folks, so like I said, we've headed out of Key Largo. We headed out of North Sound Creek. We're about 9 miles offshore right now, sitting in right around 120 feet of water. What I said we're going to do is we're going to come out and we're going to do some planer trolling off the deep ledge of the reef. So we're actually going to head out a little bit deeper to about concentrating the area of about 150 to 200 feet.
All right, folks, so the wind that day was making it really difficult to be able to film with any quality sound. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over with you what gear we were fishing with. We were fishing with my planer trolling setup, which is a Penn International 30. That's spooled with 80-pound braid. And then hooked up to that is my favorite planer, which is a number 6 planer. And then tethered to the planer is 100 feet of 60-pound monofilament leader. And then the lure setup that we were using is a dolphin color squirt squid topped with a green iridescent and mylar sea witch. And then that's tipped with about an 8 to 10 inch bonita strip. And this is the gear that I typically use when I'm going planer trolling. So this is planer trolling in its most basic form, old school planer trolling. I'm going to dump in our lure. I'm going to unwind our 100 feet of leader. Once that leader is unwound, we're going to dump in the planer and release our main line into the water somewhere in between 100 and 150 feet of mainline length. That way our planer can dive down properly. Then we'll slope the boat a little bit just to make sure that the planer dives down and sets itself. Lock up the reel, and then we'll put the boat back in gear and we'll get going. We'll make sure our rod bends over in a parabolic fashion, and then we're up and trolling, ready to boogie down and hunt down some fish.
Just like that, we're up and trolling. All right. Like I said, we're going to head out to about between 150 and 200 feet. We're going to troll around out there, see if we can find something.
So as you can see, the conditions weren't exactly ideal. We've got lots of wind, seas are a bit bumpy. You know, we're trolling around. Every 5 to 8 minutes, we're hooking up seaweed, having to peel it off the lines, and yet we're still persevering and we're looking for fish. Finally, we get a hit, and we put Fish Slayer on the fish.
Got him. Oh, be careful. It's rough out here. All right, we got Abby on a fish. Dealing with some conditions out here. Alright, we got the hook up, definitely. There you go, big guy. Then hooked up right in around 165 feet. And you get the fish up to the boat, hopefully, and see what we got going on. Ed, we're going to punch kick a little bit in these conditions, but we're doing all right. Get up to the planer, have Abby sit down, and we're going to go on ahead and see if we can wrangle the fish. Oh, here we go. All right, all right. Okay.
False albacore. First fish of the day. Not a bad catch, not super stellar, but we do go on ahead and we throw them in the bucket because that's going to make some bait for our up and coming trips. Make some nice bonita strips.
As I said, it's fairly gnarly out here today. We got this crosswind from the southeast, kicking up everything, making the fish come in shallow. Again, right now we're right in around 200 at the hookup. You having fun, big guy?
Yes.
All right, pulling it back, reeling down. Again, finesse is the name of the game. Down here in the Florida Keys, we're showing you how to do some planer trolling over the deep ledge of the reef. Remember, you gotta follow your contour lines. So what happens is as those contour lines start spreading out and you get a lesser drop from the reef, that's where you want to fish. That's where these predators are tending to hang out. That's what I've discovered over my time here in the Keys, is that, you know, the fish, your pelagics aren't necessarily hanging out over the sharp ledges. You got lots of sharks, barracudas, groupers, snappers, stuff like that over there. But out a little bit deeper where the reef starts to want to turn into sand, that's where your pelagics are hanging out, waiting to ambush bait fish that are, you know, going to disperse for the day, or that are, you know, that are migrating, congregating, and sort of traveling in times. Got Abby on this fish. Let's see if we get it up, see if it's not a false strike or something. Sometimes when you got lots of weeds around, they can get hooked on your planer. It looks like a false strike, but right now we're looking like fish. Got them pulling back. We're kind of going with the waves and the current right now, which is good. So we're gonna get them up to the boat and see what happens. Reel on the way down. Pull back. There you go. Reel on the way down. Take a minute. Hopeful. We got one planer. And again, following the contour lines, not necessarily looking at the fish finder. You're good, you don't got to back up just yet.
folks, you know, we pounded it out. Nice little bonita, nice keeper-sized dolphin on the planer. Pretty rare catch. You don't always get dolphin on the planer. So I get a comment from folks a lot of time. Hey, we're not catching much. We're doing what you're saying, but you know, we're drifting. The wind's blowing us too fast, and you know, we're catching blue runners and remoras. I always ask the question: are you trying to troll a planer? And the answer typically is, that planer's kind of complicated. I'm not really so sure about it. We're not really doing it right. When you learn to troll with a planer, you get it down. You learn to set it. You get comfortable with it. You will, matter-of-factly, tend to troll with a planer more often than not. Fish are down in the water column. They aren't always up on top. You need to learn to fish the water column. You need to learn to get comfortable with planer trolling, understanding when it's set. You need to also understand how to trip the planer when you want to check your bait. It's not very complicated. It's not intimidating. Is there a learning curve? Yes, but you will work your way through it. And once you learn how to troll with a planer, trust me when I say it's going to take your fishing game to another level. All right, that about does it for this episode. Hope you had fun. Hope you enjoyed. Now, I hope you learned a little bit about planer trolling down in the Florida Keys. Till next time, South Florida saltwater fishing. Going wherever the cool wind takes us.